Writing AI prompts is both an art and a science. And ultimately, the best way to use it right now is to speed up your workflow in what you're doing. It's there to help us fill in the gaps of the sort of mundane aspects of what we're doing to, alleviate that time and also assist us with perhaps making a better end product. So today I'm going to share with you a handful of different prompt structures that can help you increase your productivity when working with AI. My name's Mickey Murphy, and this is 7 AI prompts to boost your productivity. Number 1 is pretend. Unlike the usual methods we usually see on YouTube, I am going to be starting with what I believe is the most important in the beginning of the video instead of at the end. And that is to tell the AI to pretend to be something. It's probably one of the most powerful pretenses that you can give your AI prompts. If you're seeking to do research on a certain thing or a certain group of people, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. But just telling the AI to pretend to be something, or be someone, or be a certain type of person, or a person with certain challenges and things like that, like you can get very nuanced inspiration on how to use that information to get you the results you're looking for. Oh, and just as a note, I will be using Walling, which is connected to ChatGPT-4 for all of these examples, because some of it works really well with Walling, but these principles can be sort of applied to any prompt interface. So anyway, I'm going to create a blank wall on Walling, and I'm going to AI generate a section. So I'm going to ask the AI to pretend it is a customer looking for a website redesign, and for it to tell me what it's looking for and what its pain points are and why it wants a new website. So let's see what it comes up with. All right, so as you can see here, it actually does give us quite a bit to sort of draw conclusions and inferences off of, so I mean, if we're working with a new customer who might need a website redesign, we might be able to use this to remind them, like, you really want a user-friendly navigation. You really want to clarify your branding and have good mobile responsiveness, because so many people are, going to be looking at your website on mobile, and improve loading times for, cleaner coding and things like that. Obviously, you can apply this to many different sectors and branches of, pretending, but we've got quite a bit to go off of here. And you can, of course, repeat this a couple times if you're, wanting more than what it gives you. But I do think all of these are very valuable to remind your customers of if they are considering a website redesign. Or if you're marketing your website redesign services, you can definitely use this as a starting point for marketing efforts to educate potential clients about what's important with good websites. Number 2 is generating email subject lines. I don't know about you, but I often struggle with coming up with good email subject lines for email campaigns and things like that. I mean, it's pretty easy to, create all the content and everything, but it's also hard to sort of think about it in that abstract way of like, what makes a good email campaign headline that makes someone want to click on it, like it's hard to sort of sometimes extrapolate that from the content that you've created for the email campaign itself. So having AI to, bounce some ideas off of, get some inspiration from is very useful. And you can even specify things like increasing the open rate to sort of further tailor the output to what you're looking for. So I'm going to just do one brick for this one. I'm going to do a new brick with AI. And I'm going to ask it to create 5 email subject lines that are designed to increase an open rate for an e-commerce store. All right, so we've got our 5 right here. I really like number 2. I feel like those kinds usually do get my attention when I get like those kinds of emails. So obviously it's definitely about grabbing the attention very quickly, with the flash sale, surprise inside, limited time, early bird special, and your wish list items, which obviously number 5 is a bit more nuanced to like if your, e-commerce store actually has a wish list, but useful. So I can definitely glean some inferences off of this and get some perspective on how I should shape mine to be attention grabbing. Number 3 is writing emails. Now, quite a bit of my day at work is really just responding to emails. Sometimes they can get really complex too in my responses and, explaining everything. So if I were a bit more methodical about it, I would probably try to start saving some of those more complex things as email templates that I can later just copy and paste to save myself some time. But if you're trying to be proactive instead of reactive, you may want to make some email templates for yourself ahead of time. And AI can help, of course, a lot with that writing process of creating all of those email templates. So let's give it a go. I'm going to create a new brick with AI, and I'm going to ask it to write an email template that will be used to remind customers of upcoming delivery deadlines for holiday orders. All right, so we've got a good headline here. We've got our variable data fields sort of built out already with the brackets. And obviously we have enough fluff here in the body of the email to not make it feel too cold or too boring. It's still got a little bit of a mix of both. And of course, a very clear call to action with the place your order now button. So yeah, I'm really gonna have to try to implement this myself at work because so many emails. Number 4 is generating questions. So say you're gonna be interviewing someone or having an onboarding call with a client or doing a discovery call of some kind. It can be really useful to have an idea of what questions you're going to ask, what's important to ask. And if you're a little unsure about what's, good to ask, you can get some inspiration from AI. So for this example, I am going to create a new brick with AI, and I'm going to ask it to write 5 interview questions for a senior front-end developer position. Okay, these are good. Describe a challenging UI problem you solved and the technologies or techniques you applied to address it. Asking how they optimize the performance of a high-traffic web application. Yeah, these are all very useful examples. And probably, if I were the one doing the interview, I'd probably use some of these. Number 5 is generating tasks. Honestly, with AI, it's all about leveraging it to speed up what you're doing. Sitting down and coming up with all the small pieces needed to, complete a larger task can be daunting and difficult to make sure that you're sort of covering all your bases. So using AI to help you figure out all those nooks and crannies of a large project can be helpful, or at least giving you maybe some perspective that you didn't perhaps have when you tried to sort of break it down yourself. So I'm going to generate a new section, and I'm going to ask AI to create a task board for a successful retirement plan in your 20s. All right, so it created us a section here in a board view. So we've got the financial assessment, savings goals, investment strategy, and continuous learning. An emergency fund, very important. Retirement accounts, also very important. I think the continuous learning is an interesting part that I wouldn't have thought of, making sure you're staying up to date with sort of current finance trends and things like that. Number 6 is generating a whole project or plan. Now, this is the kind of prompt where I think Walling really shines because it has so many tools at its disposal that you can sort of throw this very complex thing at it, and it'll give you, several different aspects of actionable things to work with. For example, I am going to AI generate a whole new wall dedicated to designing an employee onboarding program for a pet food store that includes training, job responsibilities, expectations, and closing duties. So let's see what it comes up with. All right, so we've got a nice little header here. Strawberry photo obviously isn't the most relevant, but it's on the right track. So we've got a welcome to the team where it covers the missions and values, getting to know your new role, and welcome you to the first day. A closing duties checklist with a nicely built table. We've got a whole section dedicated to performance expectations, and a whole other section dedicated to job responsibilities, customer service and sales responsibilities, inventory management responsibilities, animal care and maintenance, store cleanliness and safety, and then a whole board dedicated to training modules. So yeah, pretty extensive, I would say, as far as an onboarding checklist and everything. Everything for you as the employer to keep in mind when you're onboarding a new team member and giving you some assistance with, what to cover, and yeah. But yeah, that's sort of what I mean. Walling has many ways to go about answering the prompt. So it's useful to have things like a table and a Kanban board and checklists and things like that. So, and lastly, number 7 is personal development. Obviously, for many of us, increasing our skill levels is pretty important, whether it's, in a job field that you're already pretty experienced in, but you want to sort of continue that further, or it's breaking into something completely new. AI can give us, a unique perspective on how to go about learning new things and what tools and resources we might need and use for that. So for this one, I'm going to AI generate a section and ask the AI to provide actionable advice to help me improve my graphic design skills. All right, so we've got mastering the basics. We got the fundamental principles, layout, typography, color theory, and composition. Practicing daily with simple design prompts. I like that. Emulate work from established designers. That's also really good. Seeking feedback is really good too. I mean, trying to find some peer that can review your stuff and let you know what they think, and then you can iterate on that. That's useful. And regularly visiting platforms like Behance and Dribbble to observe current trends. Yeah. Overall, a very useful output to keep in mind when I'm trying to improve my skills in graphic design. All right, there you have it, 7 AI prompts to boost your productivity. It can be very useful to analyze the more mundane parts of the work that you do and how AI can sort of help you increase your productivity in those areas. So these are just some guidelines on, how you can utilize it better to fulfill what you're doing. But just remember to make sure you're always reviewing everything AI puts out, because sometimes things are inaccurate and sometimes things need to be changed and fixed. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect system. So yeah, just make sure you're reviewing everything that you're doing. But I hope this gave you some inspiration on how you can use AI to increase your productivity. Until next time, have a good one.